Okay, so right now it is the start of the fourth quarter of the Lakers and Grizzlies game, and I don't even need this game to finish because it's over. The Lakers have won in 6. I'm starting to think I'm a curse because in my playoff predictions video, I got a lot of shit wrong, and I mean a lot, but I'm really not going to get into that because that is for another video that I have coming up. What we do need to talk about is the Grizzlies and how they are not fine in the West, as Ja Morant once said. Coming into the playoffs, I honestly thought that the Grizzlies were going to make the Western Conference Finals. I wasn't sure about the other side, whether it was Denver, Phoenix, or the Clippers. Whoever could have been, I thought that Memphis was for sure going to make it. This team was good. Ja Morant was playing great. Jaren Jackson Jr. had a Defensive Player of the Year-esque season. And overall, everyone was playing good. And it seemed like this team was not going to lose in the first round. In fact, most people had them in the Western Conference Finals, maybe even making the finals. And well, as we can see, the Grizzlies are going to lose in 6 games to the Lakers, which real quick, I gotta give my props to the Lakers. Man, I doubted the Lakers so much despite them making the playoffs, and they've continued to prove me wrong. And I do think the scary reality of this is the fact that the Lakers didn't even need LeBron James or Anthony Davis to really go off during this series. I'm not saying they played bad because I'd be lying to you if I did say that, but it was guys like Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell and even Rui Hachimura who really had some great performances, which led to the Lakers being able to be up, which either tells me that the Lakers have a system where they don't necessarily need their star players to go off, or B, LeBron James has just been saving his energy, and so has Anthony Davis, and they're just waiting for the right game to go off. I kind of treat it like I have been with the Kevin Durant and the Suns situation. It's not a stretch to say that the Lakers have played like a team that could damn near make the finals, and I'm not gonna lie, with the way the Western Conference is this year, there is a very good chance that can happen. I honestly do believe if the Lakers started off the year with making the trades that they made during the trade deadline, they'd be a 3 seed minimum. They've played great, and I think it's just shown that no matter how old LeBron James is, 1, you don't doubt him, and 2, most importantly, you do not disrespect him. And of course, this is going to transition into this Dillon Brooks. From the moment this man said that LeBron James was too old and he doesn't respect him, I knew this series was going to be over. And no, this isn't like LeBron saying Kobe was going to drop 60, or the time that he claimed he read a Malcolm X book, or the time that he said he read about Liverpool. God damn, this motherfucker lies all the time. But one thing that does not lie is his game, and LeBron James has shown time and time again that you're not going to disrespect him and get away with it. And unfortunately for Dillon Brooks, he had to find this out the hard way. I've never seen in my life Dillon Brooks play so bad in his career. Like, I know Dillon Brooks isn't a star player or a superstar or anything of that nature. I know he's not the craziest player on the court, but we do understand that he holds some value to the Grizzlies. Whether you love or hate him, it is obvious that Dillon Brooks for the longest of time has been and only positive for the Grizzlies. He's also been one of the reasons why they've been so successful. But that was until he decided to trash talk LeBron, and LeBron absolutely broke this man. I've never seen Dillon Brooks play this bad, and I know 100% it had to do with LeBron. I mean, it's not like, oh, LeBron was just clamping him. That was a part of it, but he was just missing everything. Like, he genuinely was scared. Where did the dog go? What the f? You genuinely disappeared when your team needed you the most, and you were scared, and you wanted to talk all that shit, but when it came down to it, you were not going to show up. I mean, literally, you did not show up for the press conference in back-to-back games, and probably it's going to happen again. I get trash talking. I understand that it is a part of the game, but when it gets to a point where you are more known for your trash talking than your play, that becomes an instant problem. We are seeing time and time again, you are now being known for doing dumb shit on the court and pissing people off, and there is a reason why the Grizzlies 100% had a target on their backs. I don't think people really cared about the dancing as much as they say they do. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like the Grizzlies, but that dance is kind of hard. Plus, they're a young, fun team. We're allowed to get excited about this stuff. But the main reason why people hate this team and they want to beat this team so bad is because of this egghead right here. You better at fucking dancing than playing basketball. What a goddamn shame. Oh, but Spex, you shouldn't hate him. It's the media. The media is trying to make him a villain. Yo, shut the fuck up. We're not gonna act like the trash talking and the shit he's done this entire year hasn't been warranted of him being a quote-unquote villain. I mean, he has publicly said that he is fine with being the villain and he plays into it. Okay, Villain Brooks, why don't you talk your shit and actually show up? As the donkey from Shrek once said, you're talking about a dynasty. The dynasty starts after you, not with you. No matter how good of a regular season team the Grizzlies are, it does not matter in any way, shape, or form. The Grizzlies will never, ever become a dynasty, let alone win one ring because of your ass. And I get it, other players on the team struggled, there were injuries, we're gonna fully comprehend and talk about that. We are not gonna sit here and act like Dillon Brooks was not one of the reasons why this team got destroyed. And I'm also not gonna let Dillon Brooks breathe after the shit he's decided to pull off these past couple weeks. With absolutely no due respect, you're a and you are the worst of the game of basketball. You're a liability on the offensive side, the defensive side, and quite frankly, you're just a liability in general. Quite frankly, what do you do? I genuinely have to ask. You're a glorified mascot, and to be fair, some of the mascots look way better than your ugly ass. You know what, let's switch things. Let's talk about the Grizzlies as a whole for a sec. What is that one thing that Ja Morant said? Didn't he say like they was fine in the West or something? Yeah, I remember that. Hey, you remember that? I sure as hell do. And I cannot believe it only took one round of the NBA playoffs for that shit to age like milk. I cannot actually believe, I cannot comprehend the fact that the Grizzlies, who at one point were the favorites to come out the West, the Grizzlies, who to a lot of people were contenders, including myself, and to the Grizzlies, who said they was fine in the West, all for this to lose in the first round in 6 games. Oh, and I should mention that in game 6, they lost 125 to 85. They lost by 40. Listen, I'm gonna give my props to the Lakers, which I've done already, and I'm good with doing that. As much as I don't like the Lakers, I'll give them their props when they are deserved, and sure enough, in this situation, they fully deserve them. However, we're not gonna act like the Grizzlies did not play some of the worst basketball I've ever seen. One of the things that made the Grizzlies very special was their defense. They had a great defense. I mean, they literally had the defensive player of the year. And despite all of that, their defense tonight looked like trash. And to be honest, for a majority of the series, it has. Quite frankly, I think what this series is gonna do for the Grizzlies is gonna be worse than any other outcome they could have asked for. If they would have went down and lost to the Warriors, well, that actually would have been hell. But if they would have lost to the Suns, or they would have lost to the Nuggets, or even a team like the Kings, we would have all said, damn, they got outmatched, and of course we're gonna talk our shit because they did. But honestly, we can justify it as just them getting outmatched. However, they did not just get outmatched in this series. In the words of ESPN, they literally got decimated. They got destroyed. They got shamed. They got embarrassed. I know I'm just a content creator and maybe I don't have the experience to talk about basketball, but I'm like 99% sure this was a must-win game, and because of that, they should have fight in them, right? They should be able to battle the Lakers and at least give it some effort. But no, there was zero effort. They absolutely looked defeated, and sure enough, they played like it. Hey, wait, what'd they say? It's a parade inside my city? Shut the fuck up. Only parade y'all are about to have is in Cancun, and honestly, I cannot wait to see this. I swear, I've been putting in a lot of work recently, and I thought, hey, maybe I should go to Cancun. But I'm afraid if I go to Cancun, I'm gonna see Dillon Brooks holding a margarita, and then I see like Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. in the swimming pool or some dumb shit like that. Listen, I might be a little harsh on the Grizzlies, but honestly, I'm gonna say this is fully justified. As a Suns fan who saw his team losing game 7 by basically 76 points, when they talked some shit, not as much as the Grizzlies, but they did talk shit, and the way people destroyed them, whether it was on Twitter or the national media, they basically got kicked out of the contender talk for a while. And honestly, the same needs to happen to the Grizzlies. Now, I did say earlier they were missing 2 players, and they were missing Steven Adams and Brandon Clark. And listen, I understand that these players are important to the lineup. Trust me, I'm not gonna pretend like they're not. But in my opinion, I feel like those are the players that you're gonna miss during the finals or when you really make a deep run. However, not in the first round of the playoffs. And I know the Heat literally just beat the Bucks, so the concept of seeding really does not matter to me anymore because the playoffs are what the fuck. But I do want to point out that the Grizzlies were a 2 seed and the Lakers were a 7. You know what? As I said in a community post, Toxic Spex is back, and you know what? I'm on my shit right now. I genuinely do not believe that the Grizzlies are going to show up for the post-game press conference. And the craziest anime plot twist of this whole situation is I was rooting for the Grizzlies. I like Ja Morant. I love Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't fucking like Dillon Brooks. Fuck you. Also, you lost my mom money because she bet on your bitch. So fuck. But needless to say, I wouldn't mind this team winning, also because, let's be honest, I don't like the Lakers. So even though a lot of people are going to think I was rooting for the Lakers, that is not true. In fact, I still wanted the Grizzlies to win. But I just think it's kind of funny that they had to talk all this shit and yet it did nothing. In fact, it didn't just blow up in their face. Now, this video is probably titled about their collapse, and of course, I do want to answer the question, where do they go from here? Well, something important that we need to look at is that Dillon Brooks is on a contract contract year. And according to what I've seen, it seems like Dillon Brooks is going to be eligible for a 4-year, $60-something million deal, which if you would have asked me like 20 games before, I would have said, shit, that's probably a good deal. However, after seeing what just happened and him basically folding like an omelet, yeah, no, this is not a good idea. And honestly, I would say his best bet would be trying to join the Shanghai Sharks, the Guangdong Tigers. And you better get ready to learn Chinese, buddy, because no NBA team is going to want your ass after this year. And honestly, this isn't just a basketball thing, because of course players have bad games. I understand that. No player is not going to have that. And even in the biggest moments, if it happens, that's still a bad thing, but it's not the reason why I'm saying half of these things. It's because Dillon Brooks has become more of a liability, more of a distraction than an actual good basketball player. I think the moment when people finally started to turn on Draymond Green was because of the same reason. There was a point where Draymond was becoming more of a distraction than a good basketball player. Also, since we're talking about Draymond Green real quick, how did you manage to make Draymond Green look like the mature person in the situation? For the first time in my life, I was like, shit, I actually want Draymond Green to beat Dillon Brooks. I felt like one of those old heads who were saying, oh, these youngsters like to talk. And of course, Dillon Brooks did get the better of Draymond in that situation, but the Warriors are still in the playoffs, and this man Dillon Brooks got bounced by 40. Which, speaking of that, didn't he say that he doesn't respect anyone until they give him 40? Well, I mean, I'm no mathematologist, but the Lakers literally won by 40. When are people going to learn that talking shit is never going to end well, especially if you're a young team that hasn't done anything? And I know a Suns fan saying this is so ironic, but still. And by the way, I still agree with what Draymond said. The dynasty is going to end once Dillon Brooks is gone. And quite frankly, the Memphis Grizzlies are going to have a very tough decision this offseason. Do you extend this man who did not show up when you needed him most, or a player that has just straight up been a liability and someone that's more of a distraction than good? Or do you look at everything else he's done in his career and say, hey, he's had an off year, but honestly, he can do better? And to that, I agree. He can do better, but he needs to stop being a goddamn distraction. Look, I've been recording this video for about 30 minutes and I'm looking on Twitter. The slander is crazy. People are going in worse than I think they did with the Suns, which honestly might be fully justified. But honestly, I kind of knew that the series was going to end like this. And the only reason why I even say this is because 4 days ago, I made a video called This is Dillon Brooks' Fault, where in that video, I highlighted all the shit talking, all the things that Dillon Brooks has done to rile up LeBron. And now we're seeing that this video aged perfectly. I'm talking more perfect than Will Levi's girlfriend. But all jokes aside, if you want to go check that out, the video is right here.